Ladies and gentlemen, if James Bond ever had a cousin who raced in the Alps, drank espresso at every gas station, and didn't need machine guns in his car because he had style, that man would have driven the Lancia Appia GTE Series 2 by Zagato. This wasn't a car for gangsters or movie stars. It was for the dentist who also won hill climbs, or the architect who thought a Porsche was too obvious. Basically, the kind of guy who'd bring wine to a track day. And speaking of subtle class, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit that button the way Timmy hits the wine aisle after saying, "I'll just have one." If you like weird cars, glorious misfires, and surprisingly fast Italian gentlemen's races, you're in the right garage. Now, let's unroll this ribbon of aluminium beauty and find out why the Appia GTE was the automotive equivalent of a silk scarf hiding brass knuckles. By late 1956, Lancia quietly did something wonderful. They made their small sedan, the Appia, not only better, but irresistible to coach builders. With a new Series 2 chassis, they extended the wheelbase to 2,510 millimeters, gave it more stiffness, and paired it with a refined 1.1-liter narrow-angle V4. This wasn't a sports car yet, but it was definitely flirting with the idea. Enter Zagato. They'd been playing with Appias since 1956, making one-offs and track toys. But in 1958, something clicked. The GTE was born. A Gran Turismo Esportiva built not for bureaucrats, but for privateers who wanted to look like bureaucrats while overtaking them. Elio Zagato himself led the design team on this one. Yes, that's Zagato. No Ercole Spada yet, so give the credit where it's due. They skinned it in aluminium, sculpted it with that classic teardrop tail, and just to show off, gave early versions fared plexiglass headlamp covers that looked like the eyes of a dragonfly in a tuxedo. Those covers were later ditched because of regulations, but if you find one today, don't blink. It's rare. Why make it? Because Italy in the late 50s was full of drivers who wore leather gloves to dinner and liked their rally cars petite. The GTE let you drive to Sebring, race the 1.1-liter class, and then drive home with wine in the trunk and bugs on your windscreen. Lancia's precision mechanics, Zagato's aerodynamics, and a weight-saving body made it a killer combo in endurance races. Even famed broadcaster Walter Cronkite got involved, no joke, driving one of these little Lancias in the 1959 12 Hours of Sebring. I like to imagine him announcing lap times in his serious voice while overtaking a Jaguar. Production figures? Well, let's say they were Italian consistent, which means no one fully agrees. RM Sotheby's says 153 Series 2 GTEs were built. Italian sources say about 100. Count all GTEs, Series 2 and early Series 3, and you're near 300. What's certain is that survivors are cherished, well-documented, and extremely smug about it. Under the hood, or more accurately, under the impossibly low and elegant bonnet, was one of Lancia's best tricks. A 10-degree narrow-angle V4 engine. It had just one cylinder head for both banks, making it compact, light, and smoother than Timmy's pickup lines after 3 grappers. The engine displaced 1,089 cubic centimeters. In the Series 2 tune, it made about 53 PS using a Weber 36 DCLD3 twin-choke carburetor. Sure, later versions squeezed out up to 60 PS, but we're sticking with the honest 53 here. The pure stuff? Like espresso with no sugar. Power went to the rear wheels through a 4-speed, manual with the top 3 gears synchronized. The shifter? Floor-mounted, naturally. This was a gentleman's car, not a tractor, unless your tractor had alloy panels and Italian pedigree. The chassis, Lancia's A12.01, was longer than earlier Appias, which helped stability. The body, handmade aluminium over steel, light enough for the car to weigh in at about 840 kilograms. The front suspension featured Lancia's famous sliding pillar setup. It kept the wheels nicely planted during cornering and made for confident handling on twisty roads or when dodging potholes the size of political promises. The rear used a live axle and leaf springs, basic but effective. Brakes, hydraulic drums all around. Not ideal for modern traffic, but perfect for 1959. Some cars got upgraded to twin leading shoe fronts later, but that depends on who owned it and how brave they were. Wheels were 15 inches, often Barani bimetal or simple pressed steel, wrapped in narrow tires that probably squealed in Italian. Dimensionally, it measured about 4,190 millimeters, long 1,400 millimeters wide, and just under 1,240 millimeters in height. Roughly 13 feet 9 inches by 4 feet 8 inches by 4 feet 1 inch. Think tiny GT with sharp elbows. The wheelbase remained a stable 2,510 millimeters or 8 feet 3 inches. Top speed? Between 155 and 160 kilometers per hour, about 99 miles per hour. And yes, that's with just 53 PS, because aerodynamics and weight saving actually work when designed by Italians, not online forums. Fuel consumption ranged from 7.5 to 9.0 liters per 100 kilometers, or around 34 miles per imperial gallon. What made it special? The V4 engine's compact layout meant a low bonnet line that cut through the wind. The suspension let it dance through hills and rallies. The body? Light as gossip at a garden party. It didn't need brute force, it needed finesse. And it had it. The Lancia Appia GTE Series 2 wasn't just engineered, it was sculpted. This was a car that looked like it whispered secrets at cocktail parties. Zagato's design philosophy was always function first, but somehow it ended up being gorgeous anyway. That's the Italian way. They try to make a sandwich, and it turns out it's art. The car's profile was low and purposeful. It didn't scream for attention like a Ferrari or look like it was mid-divorce like some British coupes. It just stood there, confident, poised, and vaguely judging your tie. And it wasn't just pretty. Every vent and line had purpose. Drag was the enemy, and this car knew how to slice through it like Bob slices coupons out of Cold War survival magazines. Back in 1959, the GTE wasn't exactly a mass-market darling. It was a car for a specific crowd, wealthy, mechanically literate, and allergic to showrooms. The kind of people who knew the difference between a Solex and a Weber and debated them over espresso. Lancia didn't market it in huge numbers. This wasn't Detroit. You didn't get a balloon, a test drive, and a sales manager named Jerry. You had to know about the GTE. And if you knew, you bought one. Compared to bigger names, Ferrari, Maserati, Alfa Romeo, the GTE flew under the radar. But in its 1.1-liter class, it was a beast. Today, it's still a niche hero. Not everyone recognizes it at a car show, but the ones who do usually start speaking Italian and gesturing with both hands. That's when you know it's real. Even Bob, who thinks cars stopped making sense after 1973, admitted he wouldn't mind owning one, as long as it came with a tinfoil roofliner to block the satellites. Now, about that price tag. Back in 1959, the list price in Italy for a GTE Seconda Serie was about 1,800,000 lire. That converts to roughly 30,000 euros or $35,000 in today's currency when adjusted for inflation. And now? Hold on to your monocle. The highest recorded auction sale of a Series 2 GTE was $190,400 at RM Sotheby's Amelia Island auction in March 2022. A Concours-level example with pedigree and polish. Most cars today sell in the 70,000 to 160,000 euros range, depending on originality, history, and how much the seller says things like matching numbers and never raced, just rallied. So here's to the car that made 53 PS feel like fireworks and proved that class doesn't always come with horsepower. It sometimes comes with hand-formed aluminium and a whisper of V4 magic. And finally, a heartfelt thank you to our channel sponsors, by which we mean you. Yes, you wonderful, slightly eccentric gearheads who click that join button like Timmy clicks. I accept the cookies without knowing what cookies are. You keep the wheels spinning and the joke's just inappropriate enough. Now, go out there and remember. If you can't afford a Zagato, you can always tell your neighbor you've got one. Parked in your imagination, or behind a curtain, or under restoration since 1982. Just say it with confidence.